Welcome to the Loveland Report Lone Ranger Show. I am Cleve Loveland, Central Florida's best real estate planner, alongside Bruce Woodburn,
That's
Lone
me.
Ranger. And we're going to talk to you about what's going on in real estate in Central Florida and around the country. Where are the mortgage rates at? Are we finally getting the Sleepy Joe hangover behind us? Is the Trumponomics taking over? Is the market picking up? We've got all those numbers. I've got inventory numbers. I want to talk about something I'm seeing people say that they are super special and they have off-market and private listings, and that works really well. Well, we're going to prove that false. Small investors are dominating the market right now. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about your real estate plans. So what else you got today, Bruce?
Well, I want to talk about interest rates. I want to talk about how people that are renting can get into homes right now. Where are their opportunities? How can we help these people that are really struggling with affordability? So there's a lot of ways you can do that. We're going to discuss that. We're also going to talk about move-up buyers, because move-up buyers, I think, are starting to really enter the market now. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why we have an abundance of inventory, is that move-up buyer, the one that's been sitting on that 3% interest rate, that just didn't want to let go of it, is finally willing to let go
their
and
house
move
is
up.
worth more, their mortgage balance is a little lower, and life changes.
And I think people are starting to come to the realization that I just don't think interest rates are going to be 5s and 4s anytime real soon. I mean, we're lucky if we can get down into the low 6s. Fortunately, FHA and VA loans are yielding better interest rates right now than conventional loans are.
Okay.
So if somebody is a first-time home buyer or wants to put less money down, or is comparing, say, a conventional loan to an FHA or VA loan, well, let's look at all the options so you know what the best type of product is for you. But conventional loans just tend to be a little bit higher, and the risk-based pricing is higher. So if your credit score isn't over the top, a conventional loan likely will not be as good of an interest rate as an FHA or a VA loan. And veterans still, I'm going to tell you, everybody's hammering the veteran. Oh my God. I talked to USAA. I talked to Veterans
They're
United.
the lowest
I
hanging
talked
fruit.
to New Day. I'm going to tell you, you veterans out there have been brainwashed by the media. That is part of the VA. Veterans United and USAA are not part of the United States government. They are insurance
And that's
companies
like
and a mortgage
borderline,
company.
because, and what it is VAs are, I would say it's easier. I'm not in the business, but I think it's easy. They're easier to refinance, right?
They're very easy and they're cheap to refinance. However, a veteran can only refinance on what's called an IRRL. It's an IRRL, which is interest rate reduction loan. And it's easy to do. It's cheap for the veteran. However, they can only do it every 241 days. So we're seeing veterans being hammered by the media, which the veteran perceives Veterans United to be VA. They perceived USAA as being VA. They're not. They are private companies, just like Cross Country Mortgage. The thing is that I will compare my rate to any one of them any day of the week. Any day of the week. They spend so much money in advertising. And Cleve, we don't spend any money in advertising. So our terms and our rates can be much more attractive than that. I'll compare them. But my point is, if you're thinking about refinancing to lower your rate, I can lower your rate right now as a veteran. Should you do it? Hold off. Let's get the best of the best. You don't want to do what's called churning your mortgage. And that's what these mortgage
Being a
companies want you to
refi-aholic,
do.
yeah.
You're a refi-aholic, and they love you for it. And I'm just telling you, it's not the right thing to do. If you have questions about buying, refinancing, building a home, renovating a home, call the loan arranger. I have been in the mortgage business for 35 years. I've helped tens of thousands of families. I'm right here in your backyard. You can call or text me now at 407-250-9144. We do personal meetings. We do Zoom meetings. I prefer a personal or Zoom meeting. Realtors, I think, Cleve, you're very fortunate because you get the opportunity to meet clients. Nowadays, when people are getting a mortgage, they don't even want to come into the office. And I think it's the most important meeting you could possibly have. It's more important than, it's like up there with your will and your trust. Don't you want a personal consultation? At least Zoom. Don't do it by phone. Do it on a Zoom.
Yeah, and
allow me to meet you at least on your computer.
I need to meet with people like in person to say, if I'm going to help them with a real estate plan, are we selling? Are we buying? Are we leapfrogging and renting our primary and moving to another primary? I need to know about that. I need to know a little bit about their finances. I'll
But
give
you
them
and
the
I
info.
do that. That's why I like to meet with them in person. I'm looking at, hey, what are you getting on your 401k? Where is it invested? How much are you contributing to your 401k? How much do you have when you retire? When do you want to retire? Do you have a will? Do you have a trust? Do you have a ladybird deed in case something happens to you? These are all things that you don't think about. All you're thinking about is how much do I need for my down payment and how much is my payment going to be? Anybody can do that. You want a full service lender that's going to care about your history, that's going to tell you not to refinance when everybody's telling you to refinance. I am looking to be a trusted partner. And that's what I'm looking for in my clients. Hey, if you want to reach Cleve Loveland, Cleve can be reached right now at 407-352-8118, or Bruce Woodburn, the loan arranger, at 407-250-9144. So we talked about Leapfrog. We had a Leapfrog class on Wednesday.
Some smart people.
Had some smart people come in, and we got some folks that are investing in real estate, looking to build a portfolio of wealth. And I think this is a prime time. Tell us a little bit about what's going on in the market right now. I see you have some markets.
The inventory numbers, which the report we get every month, and inventory climbed up. It's probably the highest it's been in about 15, 16 years, Bruce. It's still about
so we're back up again.
Up again. Now the number of sales has ticked up from the winter months and the spring months, and the number of sales is about 2,500 a month. Now the inventory's all-time high, or 15-year high. The number of sales still down about 8% from last year. So we're not beating 23 yet, which is what we need to do. But still still a seller's market.
Now, isn't that interesting?
And then I got to break that down for you personally. When I go to your house, if you've got 30 neighbors for sale, you're not in a seller's market. If you're the only one for sale for 5 miles, you're probably in.
Why do you think we're in a seller's market with that much inventory on there?
Because 5 months supply is what we got. Over 6 months, we're in a buyer's market. But there is a lot more for people to look at. Because what's funny, Bruce, is I think buyers, like I saw an article about the inventory, a number of mortgage applications being higher. People are seeing signs everywhere. Sellers are giving closing costs. It's not, you're not competing against five other people.
And that's why I question why you say that. I do believe that you're right, that there are segments of the market that are still leaning toward sellers. I mean, you're not going to go into Lake Nona and negotiate a bunch off your price of your house. But in general, I know that your months of inventory lead to seller's market, but the amount of inventory leads me to a buyer's market. So you have so much inventory that we're not used to. And I'm seeing sellers paying closing costs.
Central Florida's got a 3 million population, this greater metro area. So they are getting more, and it's almost more like we just haven't had a market like this in more than 7, 8, 9 years where the buyer was in control, not in control, but the buyer's got to know what they want. Because
buyer has to be prepared. Your buyer should be so well qualified when you go out to shop. Cleve talks about my fast track program all the time. Here's why. Can you negotiate better for a client, as assuming they're a buyer?
Yep.
Can you negotiate better if you had the lender say, I'll guarantee you I could close that loan in 15 days. I have everything I want. I'll guarantee you. And I'll even be willing to put up money that if the loan doesn't close, I'll pay the seller $500 a day. Is that can you negotiate stronger for that buyer than if you just had a pre-approval letter?
Oh yeah. No, it's just as good as cash, almost better, because usually my cash buyers kind of get in their heads sometimes, and they're like, I'm cash, I'm not going to pay you full price.
Right.
So, but a finance buyer is mainly worried about, okay, look, I'm tired of paying rent for $2,700, $2,500. I don't care.
I've looked at 4 houses and I lost 3 of them because I underbid.
If that's happening. But it's just, you got to know, this is what I was saying about having a good buyer's agent. You've got to know that, wow, that one that just popped up, we need to write the offer today for 5,000 over list.
Right.
Or we've got to be able to say, that guy's crazy. All his neighbors are selling for 500. He's listed for 599.
Let's get closing costs. Let's come in at a lower price.
That kind of thing. And that's what most agents don't do, Bruce. I spend most of my time handling offers that come in from agents that just they're not educated. They don't have a sales manager. They don't have a boss down the hallway. They don't have anybody in their office they can walk down. They're working out of their house, and they can't.
And they don't know how to negotiate.
They don't. And they are not taught And that's unfortunate because there's 20,000 realtors in Central Florida, but there's only about five. Let's see. So like this month, there was 2,500 sales in May, 2,550. So that's 5,100 paychecks
Right.
on the sides for the buyer and the seller.
Right.
And then let's say there's 1,000 or 1,500 new homes. So there's 6,000, 6,500 paychecks. There's 20,000 realtors.
Right.
And 79% of them did not even get a paycheck last year. So, and there's companies like mine that sell multiple homes every month. And so that's very, very
You
important.
wonder
You pick
why.
the right
Would you
agent.
want to go to a heart surgeon that hasn't done heart surgery but one a
No.
year? No,
No.
I want to do
No.
I want to go to the guy he's doing them every day.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is what's important about having a good realtor to help you make your plan. Because right now is a great time. I've got people that bought 2 years ago, when all these bad interest rates started and we had the really bad Sleepy Joe economy going on. And it was they're just so happy now because I'm looking at numbers here on the median price. Median price is still up 1% over last year. It's now 390. Average price is up 2.8% at 495. A year ago that was 460. And so it's just
So if the prices are up and the last statuses we got said that we were down by 2.8%, why is this up?
Well, this is compared to last May. So last
Okay.
May, the median price was 385. This year it's 390. Last May in 24, the average price is 482. This year it's 495.
So it's up 2.8 right now.
Yeah.
For an average price, it's up 1.3 for a median
Yep.
price.
And then the sales overall, like the closed sales are down about 12% from last May. But all these things coming into play, but the prices are still rising because we're coming out of inflationary atmosphere, and also because Central Florida is growing. And then you do have people with 3% and 4% mortgage rates, and they've been in their house
to let go of them
for 6 years. The average time people move is about 4 to 7 years, and I think we've had some people hanging on that did not move in 2000. What would that be? 2020, 2020.
Anytime between 19.
No, 2022 is when.
22 is when the market started to go up.
23
interest rates went up.
And 24, 23, those people that wanted to move didn't, waiting for prices to go up. They still had a 4% mortgage. So 23, same thing. There was people that did that and they might have wanted to move, but now they've got good equity. They paid their mortgage down a little bit. So, and life happens, you got babies on the way, you got divorces, you got breakups, you got job promotions, you got job transfers, things like that. You got deaths in the family, money being inherited. All those things come into play. But for your real estate plan, call me at 407-352-8118 or go to cleveloveland.com.
Yeah, or get your mortgage application started. We do it in person. We do it in Zoom. We'll do it on the phone, or we'll do it on the interweb. Any way you want to do it. Go to webringyouhome.com or call me and we'll schedule a Zoom meeting for a consultation. My team will reach out to you. They'll get you on the schedule. They'll get you set up for your application. So when I talk to you, we're not starting from scratch. I like having my meeting set up just like a doctor. I already want to know what the patient looks like. So you get my team, your pay stubs, your W-2s, they'll have your credit pulled. By the way, we start with a soft pull. Don't have people pulling hard pulls right now. Unless you're going under contract right now, you can start with a soft pull. FHA, to run a full approval, you have to have a full hard pull. However, you don't need to start that way. Don't have people interfering with your credit and knocking your credit down before I see it. Go right to the loan arranger. You'll get all the information that you could possibly need to make an informed decision. Cleve Loveland can be reached at 407-352-8118. or cleveloveland.com, or Bruce Woodburn, the Loan Arranger, at 407-250-9144, or webringyouhome.com. Cleve and I'll be back in 5 minutes with more of the Loveland Report and the Loan Arranger Show. He's got some great properties that we're going to go over, his inventory. We got more to talk about on the market and more to discuss about what's going on with interest rates. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.